9, 8.
You're watching The Experience, Comic Culture and Sales. Streaming live daily to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter.
2.
Hey everyone, welcome to Best Coast Comics. I'm one of your hosts, Christopher, aka the Bronze Age Nerd, and that's
Bigby McFly, the comic guy.
And together we are the Best Coast Comics team. We have, I promise, a really great and almost entirely positive show coming up. But at the very beginning of the show, it's been kind of a roller coaster of a day. It was a great weekend. It's been an emotional roller coaster of a day. And we just want to take a second to address a couple things that we will talk about further on in the show. We're going to be talking about Heroes for Heroes, a lot of important updates. We're going to be talking about Rose City Comic Con, and then we'll talk about comic book news kind of near the end of the show. But before we even get there, we need to address, unfortunately, two things that happened today that just require addressing at the front of the show. If you're not familiar, and I'm sure most of you are by now, unfortunately, James Earl Jones, iconic actor, passed away earlier today. And that was a real gut punch for, I think, just about everybody that saw that news. And then, unfortunately, not that long ago, we had news that John Cassaday has also passed away, a comic book artist that many of you are going to be familiar with that was taken from us far too early. So we just wanted to kind of have a quick moment of silence. We talked about that before the show. We're just going to acknowledge their terrific honor of being part of our nerd culture for a minute, and then we will go on the show and we'll talk about it more in detail later in the show. So if everybody would just please take a moment of silence for those two legends. We'd appreciate it. Thanks. I know it's a somber thing, and we definitely really just wanted to make sure we talked about it because I know a lot of people are instantly going to be curious about our thoughts or reactions or want to talk about those shared stories. And promise we will get there later in the show.
Right.
Yeah. That said, let's go around the horn and do a quick say hello to everybody who joined us in the chat today. We would definitely want to say hello to people. GT Key Comic made it in. His streak is unbroken. His combo chain is active.
Looked like he had some competition, though. Somebody was trying to beat him in.
Yep. Hydra Asylum got in there first, but only probably in that specific channel, which brings me to my next point. If you're not familiar with how this show works, we are streaming on a few different channels right now. We're streaming on my channel, Bronze Age Nerd. We're streaming on Bigby's channel, Bigby McFly, the comic book guy, over on YouTube as well for both of our channels. But we're also streaming over on the EXP and all their various social media networks over on Twitch, on Facebook, Instagram Live, and as well as their YouTube, of course. Please go take a moment. All those links in the description below. Go subscribe to those other places. They're all awesome places to get comic book content. The EXP needs some love over there. Bigby McFly, the comic book guy, is almost monetized. Show those folks some love and go subscribe over those places. We'd appreciate it.
Yeah. I'll accept the love.
Always. Richard is an awesome member of the Heroes for Heroes coalition, so we'll definitely be talking about some stuff that Richard's going to want to hear about. But thanks for coming here, Richard. Renegade Rants Comics, we appreciate you being here. Thank you for being here. And then Comic Tropes. Comic Tropes had a great pros and cons show earlier today. I caught part of it. He had a great interview. I highly recommend, after the stream or whatever, if you want to go check out that pros and cons stream, go watch it on the rewind. He's also talking about several of the things that we're going to talk about tonight as well in that stream, so you can kind of get that different perspective. And he had the awesome honor of being on a panel at Rose City Comic Con, so you definitely want to go hear that story and go watch a great interview as well.
I had the honor of being in line to ask a question at this panel.
That's also a great honor. Christina Payne. Hey, what's up, Christina? We appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. Always nice to see your face or your emoji, your icon, your avatar. Space Case cards in here as well. Thank you for being here. Figure drawing. Hello, hello, hello. And let's see if there's any. Hey, Scott, how's it going? Hey, good to see you, brother. Oh, hey, Damien. Hey, speaking of people we saw at Rose City Comic Con, we got Sleepy Reader.
Damien. I never got to see him. We were just bemoaning the fact that we didn't bump into each other. He's like, I kept thinking I was going to see you in the crowd. And I was like, same thing. I was like, or somebody was going to yell my name. That actually happens during my video. Like somebody yells, Brian. And it's like all of a sudden we're hooking up with some people that we know.
Well, it's funny because I ran into Damien and a few other people. We have some pictures we'll show. I ran into him Friday night with Lorenzo from Indie Comic and Reviews and John Stout and their friend Bob. But I did not run into Damien at all Saturday. I mean, I was with Bigby most of the day on Saturday. I think we were only separated for moments.
Only moments. There was just, there's just a few moments where you have to have a little bit of time.
Yeah. Not the bathroom or anything. Just we're talking about waiting in different lines, right? I mean,
all right. We were like, the bathroom were right there, right? We shared a stall.
Psycho Phil, thanks for joining the show. Dr. Plagueis, by the way, Dr. Plagueis,
hey.
We're going to get into Heroes for Heroes stuff here in a second, give that update, but I actually have some stuff to show off from Dr. Plagueis. For those that aren't following me on social media and have seen me post about this or possibly seen Bigby post about this, here's a couple stickers that he did for us. That's the Heroes for Heroes sticker. And then I have one of Bigby's stickers that he did for him, which I know you've seen before, but I got one.
New one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you got the, yeah, I didn't pull.
I got the new one.
Okay, you should show that. There you go. There you go.
The piece of my artwork on it. It's pretty sweet. It's actually kind of a cool calling card. I was like, people will be like, oh, sweet Swamp Thing. I go, I drew that. They go, what?
Yeah, that ended up being the talking point for a lot of people.
Yeah. So and then a lot of people.
He did this business card, which was this came in indispensable at Rose City Comic Con. I've got the QR code on the back there with the donation. So Dr. Plagueis does stickers. He does a lot more. He's a nice guy. Had the pleasure of meeting him over at Rose City Comic Con. Go follow his IG to if you want to get some stickers, or if you just want to see some awesome reels he's done about the con, that'd be cool too.
If you want a shirt, he does shirts.
Yes, well, we have to do that again sometime soon, Damien. That was really fun at the Frankenstein comic swap. I guess that was spring. Yeah,
it's coming up in October.
Yeah, exactly. It's coming up next month. I think it's October 19th. I want to say.
Right.
Yeah, it was really tough, Chris. I saw that from some people, social media that are in the industry, and it really just shook me. I was hoping that it was wrong, even though I knew these are some pretty well-informed people that were friends of his, but I was hoping, oh man, I hope this is like a rumor that just proves not to be true. But sure enough, it's true. And then Garth Wang, nice to see you. Thanks for being here, Garth. Oh, sorry, Garth Wong. My apologies. And then Actual Dracula. We got an Actual Dracula in the house. Actual Dracula, you came up at Rose City Comic Con. I talked to Chip about you a little bit. It was a fun. I actually got to talk to you sometime off air. So we got to talk. Dracula. Don't worry, I'll wear my garlic necklace. It'll be fine.
Yeah. Goodies.
Yeah, exactly. So first thing we're going to do in the show, this is how we're going to start off every show until now from Heroes to Heroes. We are currently still at the $250 donation for Heroes for Heroes.
Somebody jump in there and give another $5. We're going to get over that $250. We're going to move it up a little bit.
Well, and that's what I was going to say, actually. So because today has been such a strange day, I'm not doing a giveaway in the chat today, just because honestly, I've got so many I need to send out. Like Christina's in the chat. I got to send one of hers out, for example. I've got to get caught up on those. The funds are pretty tight because a lot of it went to the stuff I did do at Comic-Con. I have stuff coming up I have to do for Heroes, like some supplies I got to buy and stuff. So I'm just going to, until I get caught up with the shipping, we're not going to do the giveaway in chat. I'm sorry. We will resume it at some point, or we'll do something else fun with that too. But if you're thinking about doing something nice for somebody today, you could donate to Mission 22 by doing it through our official fundraiser here, or however you'd like to. I'm going to paste that link into chat so it's easy to follow. This is an official donation link. It goes directly to Mission 22. It doesn't go through any third parties. This is actually a sub part of their website. If you don't know what Mission 22 is, Mission 22 is a charity that works with veterans. It's formed by veterans, run by veterans, and what they do primarily is help veterans that deal with mental health struggles. And as you may or may not be aware, those mental health struggles often lead to depressed thoughts and can result in veterans who take their own life. And that is an unfortunate and terrible thing that happens in our society. So they give real world counseling, therapy, help to the veterans and their families. We heard some extremely touching stories at Rose City Comic Con, as well as outside Rose City Comic Con. But that definitely brought home that we're doing the right thing. At least I think for me, I'm sure you agree, Brian.
Yeah. I think their name, the Mission 22, just the name, what it stands for, like just telling people what it stands for, that really just kind of, they go, oh my gosh, that just kind of. So I mean, have you put that up recently? Like the 22?
Yeah. So the it comes from, and now the statistic is a little out of date, but when they were founded, it was accurate. 22 veterans take their life every day, and that is just absolutely sobering and heartbreaking. Mm-hmm. And it is something, I definitely can tell you that we will be doing some material, probably just on my channel. I'm sure Bigby will be involved in this in some way. But one thing I'm going to do is show some of their materials. Hopefully, get a couple of people from Mission 22 on to talk a little bit more about what it is. That's something that I'm going to be bringing up as well. So thanks for bringing that up. That's a very important point. Awesome Sauce Radio. Hello. So we should talk about the good news about Heroes for Heroes, though, which is that we are doing a live auction event. It's going to be happening the weekend of Veterans Day, which is in November. Veterans Day is on November 17th. It may be on the Sunday before that. I need to play around with scheduling a little bit to figure out what day is going to be the best.
I do some satellite events as well. We even talked to some people we met at Rose City, some very big channels that might be able to do some satellite events with us.
Yeah. I've got some ideas too that I've kind of come up with since Rose City Comic Con, based on some of those conversations and based on some of the people I've been talking to, where I think that we are going to be able to do some really cool events that aren't just selling original art that we get as donations from artists, which is amazing. And you'll see some of that in a second. And not just selling comic books. And then, by the way, and when you buy things from that auction, you're going to donate at that link I just shared in chat. So that's going to be your donation. The only thing you'll pay separate from that at this point, there'll be a small shipping charge that you'll have to pay on top of that. And that's just because the shipping, especially for the original art, adds up really fast. We are looking for ways to try to alleviate that. But as of right now, we'll do it the same way we did it last year. Hopefully we'll get some kind of angel investor that wants to come in and maybe help with some of the shipping charges. That would be amazing. But it is a very difficult type of thing to navigate. But yeah, the actual donations from your auction will go to that. And also for the satellite events we do. So that'll be
angel labor investor. Comics Limited is going to help out with packing and shipping a lot of the stuff. So
fine. But the actual cost of shipping is still an instrumental thing. And I just want to point out, speaking of people being truly amazing, one of the nicest guys I've seriously ever met. He's really a nice guy. And by the way, speaking of YouTube channels and giving people follows, one of the things we're going to do as part of this, if you contribute to this, if you're like Dr. Plagueis, we just shouted him out because of the stickers he donated to this project. I don't know if I clearly said that. He donated those stickers of business cards, the design work, everything he did for this. Please go follow Sleepy Reader 666. He's basically a YouTube staple and legend in the comic book world. He's been around for a long time. Definitely go give him a follow on YouTube.
For an award.
Yeah.
So
one of the comic book community awards.
Yes. Lifetime Achievement, I think, is one, right?
I think he's been up a couple times for it, I believe. Figure Drunk says, well, less than 10% of people in America are veterans. Almost 13% of the adult population experiencing homelessness is made up of veterans. Yeah, there are some serious problems that veterans face in this country, and that's something that I've noticed over and over again talking to comic book fans. Big theme of this channel, of this show that we do on this channel and over on Bigby's channel, the EXP, is mental health. And mental health ties into this a lot. So just want to take a second to really thank Sleepy Reader 666 for that donation. That is fantastic.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, really appreciate it. Yeah. On to... Oh, go ahead.
I said, hi, Tina.
Oh, hi, Tina. Oh, hey, Tina's in there too. Nice. Hi, Tina. Nice to see you. I miss so much chat when I start trying to talk about something else. So I have some donations from Rose City that I wanted to show off real fast. These are things that are donated. Well, they were either donated to the project or I brought them there to get signed, and they're going to be part of the auction for Mission for Heroes for Mission 22. So I'm going to make myself the larger screen here for a second to show off some of this stuff.
Plagueis is saying he donated too. So there you go.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool. I didn't even scroll down, but looks like we had a couple donations there. Awesome.
We broke that 250. That's awesome. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah. So we are now, we're at 450. That is fantastic. Okay. You pulled 7 signed books, 1 dual signed slab. Oh, that's awesome. That is very cool. So I'll show off. These are some books I had that I knew creators were going to be there, and I just wanted to donate them to the auction. So got Gambit #1.
Comics Talk News. Is that you, Trav? I know he has a separate channel. So.
Oh, is that Trav too? Okay, I've never seen Comics Limited. So
yeah, I think that might be Trav also.
Some of that is just on the bag, by the way. I want to make sure you know that's a clean signature. That's Lee Weeks. Did the cover art there on Gambit #1, and that's a pretty clean copy. Usually these have some pretty good spine ticks, but that's my personal copy. I don't actually, after I sell this, I won't have a copy of Gambit #1, so I'm on the hunt for a raw copy of Gambit #1 after that.
Yeah, I can hook you up. I think I can hook you up.
Okay, cool. Not a big deal. I mean, it's it's fine. I'm just saying, like, I wanted to make sure I got a high grade copy there because I've seen a lot of low grades in there. Right. Simon Beasley is awesome. I love this cover. I have for a long time. I'm the booty cover of the week guy, so this is a fun one for me. He signed this, and I'm not going to blow up his spot too much, but it sounds like he is heavily interested in doing an original piece. He said it'd be fun to do a Lobo piece. Mm-hmm. I am in discussions with him now, so I think I'm not going to hold him to saying is going to do an original art Lobo piece, but I think it's safe to say we're going to get something from Simon Beasley for this event. So, and that book is going to be up there as well. Chris Bocello, which I looked it up, and apparently that's the correct pronunciation, Bocello. So hopefully I got that right.
Wait, yeah, we were debating a lot of names when we were
yeah. One of my favorite things to do is debate creator names. But that's the first Zelma Stanton. It's the first issue you did on the Doctor Strange self-titled run there.
So good.
Yeah. Oh, and yeah, his art on this is amazing. If you like Chris Bocello, stay tuned. When we get to the Rose City Comic Con recap and we show off a few things we got, you're gonna want to see that too. And then let's see. This was pretty cool. I had a couple copies of this. One of them I kept to myself, but this one, which is the Oliver, I can never pronounce his name actually. Copiel. I can never know how to pronounce that.
Yeah,
but that's Detective Comics 1027, which was like that super thick anniversary issue.
Wow, that's really cool looking book though.
Yeah, I had Greg Rucka, Chip Zdarsky, and Matt Fraction. So triple sign: Chip Zdarsky, Greg Rucka, and Matt Fraction signed. That'll be up for the Heroes for Heroes auction.
That's so cool. That was Trav. He said he was in the wrong.
Okay.
The wrong.
That happened.
Hey, Ozzy, good to see you, buddy.
And then John's almost always in here. I was kind of hoping I'd see him pop in. It's pronounced Bocello, obviously. I really appreciate everybody that pronounces these names correctly because it is difficult for me to. I do that thing. It's kind of like what I do in like Game of Thrones or Lord of the Rings. Like you read a name 1,000 times and you just kind of create your own pronunciation for it. So John Stout donated this, which is signed by Frank Miller. Awesome Frank Miller signature. It does have
beautiful
the COA on the back as well for anybody that was curious about that. But John wanted to help out after being a donor in the terms of buying items at auction last year. He wanted to help out with that. And he actually wanted to pay forward. He won our prize wheel for that auction night that he bought stuff from. And so he wanted to pay it forward. And he's throwing in this 1 in 25 Batman Beyond CBCS slab. I'm trying to keep the glare off it as much as possible, and I'm trying to refresh myself on the artist for that one. Max Dunbar is the art on that one.
It's beautiful.
Oh, sorry. The cover is by Simone DeMio. So there we go. 1 in 25.
Looking pretty sharp at the show.
He was styling. I got a picture of that. I'll show off. So yeah, now we're going to show off a few things that were actually fully donated by people at the show. Some things I'll have to show you a digital picture of here in a second because they're not in my possession. But some things we actually have physically here to show off. This was donated by an amazing artist. Is it Korea or Korea? Have we figured out how to pronounce his name?
Korea, I believe it's pronounced Korea.
So he does this fantastic, like eldritch art, a lot of Geiger stuff, a lot of H.P. Lovecraft stuff, and he remarked it while we were talking to him, which is so cool.
Yeah.
And then I'll just show. I want to show a couple pieces of his art because it's just awesome. We're going to try to have him on at some point.
Yeah.
But look at that.
And he was somebody who had a really great story about a friend who has struggled with depression and mental health. So he was very interested in helping.
There's a
his stuff is so good. It's very like Geiger influenced, and but he has his own style too. And if you guys haven't seen his stuff, he does sculpting as well. He does just all kinds of cool stuff.
Maria Bendis donated an actual toe. That was awesome. So I'm going to show off a few more of these things real fast. Then we'll take our first ad break. I got some prints from Lee Weeks. I'll go through these relatively quickly because I am trying to move on. I think this is the correct orientation, although you can display it sideways too. That awesome Batman Catwoman. And these are all signed by Lee Weeks. Very cool.
Amazing stuff.
Lee Weeks is amazing. I had him sign a couple other really cool books. Randy Emberlin has been an awesome. He's donated every year. We're talking to him about something else in the future. Hopefully he can do for us in the near future for this show, but I can't announce it yet because it's not solidified, but we might have more than just his prints.
His wife is a sweetheart.
Yeah, Judy.
She was so fun to talk to. I talked to her for like 20 minutes. She was great. Oh, love that Deadpool.
And these are all signed by Randy. He's kind of a Northwest institution. Yeah, he comes to all the cons up here because he lives around Portland. So had to get that. And then I thought this was cool. I think Bigby and I both thought this was cool because he's got a history on G.I. Joe.
Yeah. Roadblock action there.
Yeah, and then we're back to the Lee Weeks. Just a couple more things, and then we'll do that commercial break, and then I'll show you the digital pictures I have for some stuff that I think will knock some people's socks off. Greg Rucka, these are like metal signs. Very hard to handle here without making a bunch of noise. So he signed these. They're signed down at the bottom. But welcome to the city of Portsmouth. That's awesome. But I think this is the one that caught everybody's attention when I showed it to him.
Sniper at work.
And then, of course, signed by Greg at the bottom. And this is his second year donating. And then there's any Predator fans in the house. I don't know if we have Mon Comics. I don't know if he's hopped in. But Chris Warner, who is the cover artist for Predator 1, he was the editor at Dark Horse for a long time. He did a lot of stuff. He's the creator of Barbed Wire. He worked on Ghost. He worked on a lot of stuff. You'll recognize the stuff. Kind of an underappreciated guy in the industry, but he donated these framed Predator prints that are signed. So I'll be honest, they're plastic frames, but I don't want you to think they're like glass frames. But they're still pretty cool. I think that's really neat that they come framed already. He did 2 of this ugly MFer, which I'm just, joking because of the movie. It's obviously really cool. Those are both signed as well. And then the creme de la creme, his Predator 1 cover, which is pretty iconic at this point, I think. And that's an even larger size one. That's like, I think, 18 by 24 or so. So
cool. So much great stuff.
Yeah. And that's, just the tip of the iceberg. Adjust this stuff here so I don't break anything. These metal signs are quite something. And I will go back to our normal view. But yeah, so that's just a preview. And I think we're going to be off to a great start here. There's been a lot of wheels are in motion for stuff. I cannot wait to show you some of the original art after our first break here. We're going to take in a second. Sorry, I'm just trying to make sure I don't get anything damaged while I'm just trying to move on with the show here, folks.
For sure. Yeah, I can't believe how generous people are and like just open to the cause. It's just like super, super cool.
Yeah, it's fantastic. That said, I do got to pay for our sponsors here over at the EXP. So we're going to do our first ad break. So if you're not familiar, like I said, we are streaming over on the EXP. Go subscribe over there. There's a lot of great shows. You're actually about to see some commercials for some of those great shows here in a second. And we'll be back in about 2 minutes, and you'll see the rest of the stuff that we have for Heroes when we come back. So stay tuned.
Live from New York. What? Oh, sorry. Live from Cleveland? It's Friday night? It's Friday Night Live! With Nancy McCann. And Ricky. And sometimes Carlos. And featuring boxes and boxes of rare comics. Unique collectibles. Lots of smiles and conversations with new friends. Friday Night Live with Comics Unlimited. Friday night from 9 to 11 on The Experience.
Symphonic verses, Nocturne's romance. A song of romanticized darkness, dreaming dead by sleep.
It's not just what happens when you have too many energy drinks anymore. Check out our content over there, too.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. We are here talking about a recap from Rose City Comic Con. Also talking the first part of the show here about what we have that's new to share for Heroes, the charity for Mission 22 fundraiser that we do every year. This is our third year doing it, and there's a lot of exciting stuff. So any David Mack fans in the audience? Anybody like David Mack? Those beautiful watercolors he does? He seemed to be pretty popular at Rose City Comic Con. A lot of people were coming up to him. Well, he was nice enough to do several donations for us. Unfortunately, he was so swamped, he couldn't get it to our team until Sunday. Bigby wasn't there on Sunday. I wasn't there on Sunday, but one of our people, which is actually Comics Limited, we were talking to in chat, did a rock star job on Sunday, going and kind of politely harassing a few of the people that we'd planted those seeds with and agreed to work with us. Like Comic Drop says here, if you asked for a donation and someone declined, were you prepared to put them through their table? Fun fact, a lot of tables are no longer in fully working order at Rose City Comic Con. No, I'm just kidding. We actually, I'll be honest, there's only 2 artists that I actually spoke with and really pitched, and artists, I really more creators, that said they couldn't do it, and they still found a way to help. So, I mean, gosh.
I never got a negative response from anybody.
And it wasn't negative. It was more like, I already did some charity stuff that I'm kind of stretched too thin on, is kind of the answer that one of them gave me. And the other one, it was kind of more of just like, if you bring it by, I'll sign it. And I was like, okay, well, this is what I have, so let's just do that. And I wish I had been able to secure more stuff for them. But I am going to reach out to somebody who knows them. I think they, outside the con floor, when they have a huge line, they might have been like, oh, yeah, I could probably do something for that now. But anyways, I teased David Mack. So I'm going to show you a couple of his original art pieces that he donated first that Travis was nice enough to pick up on Sunday. Even though he was trying to enjoy the show with his family, he still found a way to help out, and I do appreciate that. So this is, and it's kind of, I got to kind of zoom down here. So it is signed. You can see down at the bottom. And it's a very simple watercolor, but he does these awesome cat watercolors. So that's the first one. Very cool.
Gesture drawing is kind of what they call that.
Yeah. And then the second one.
Oh, I love that one.
Yeah, that one's really cool. I'm loading these from my Discord, which, by the way, if you're not a member of my Discord, you can go see these and check them out at your leisure. They're in the Heroes for Heroes channel on my Discord server. So that one, I think, is, obviously it's got a little bit more going on, but if you like cats, boom. Hey, Collector P, how's it going? I'm probably missing so much chat. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, we got a bunch of stuff going on.
I will try to scan back through it when we give Bigby a chance to talk about some of the con stuff after we share the Heroes for Heroes things. I'll let him kind of go first, and I'll go through and highlight some chat. So that was really cool, and I think that's going to be awesome. Original art always does really well. Oh my gosh, I didn't paste in. Darn, I didn't paste in a couple of he did there's an exclusive for the Rose City Comic Con he signed, and also a bunch of prints too that I have pictures of. So I thought I had those pictures saved off here. I can't really pull them off my phone fast enough, but I'll show them off on the Heroes for Heroes Instagram page.
We can show them next week.
Yeah. Let me copy the address here, paste that in. And then this is from Dan Parent. So we have a page from Dan Parent that he kind of said, I'll definitely do something, swing by before the show's over. And so I didn't know how, I still don't really know exactly how that conversation went, but this is what Travis got from him, which is fantastic. Obviously, he signed it down here. Yeah, I don't know what comic this is from.
That's an Archie page, right?
It's got to be, but I don't know which issue or anything like that yet. But we'll find out.
Fine print there at the top, but yeah, we can't really.
Yeah, but it's blurry. I can't see it. So
yeah.
So we'll find out when we have it, unless we get some information from our guy on the inside that has it at his house right now. But yeah, that's really cool. Dan Parent original art, David Mack original art, signed items. I'm excited. We got so much stuff going on.
So cool stuff.
Yeah, Simon Beasley. I'm pretty certain we're going to get something from him here pretty soon. A couple other people that I've mentioned names or haven't even mentioned their names yet. I'm in conversations with them to get some stuff. There's a major comic book company that we're currently in talks with. Brian Ching, who I did the interview with for Zero Ghost, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. He was the artist on that. Supergirl. He's a fantastic, very talented artist. He's already agreed to do a piece. I'm kind of talking to him about what we're going to do for that. So there's lots and lots and lots of stuff we're going to have. I'm excited. Heroes for Heroes 2024. Spread the word. That's the biggest thing everybody can do right now. I know people like, somebody we're going to talk about here in a minute, I'm sure, Mike from Lunch Money Comics was very supportive and is shouting it out and everything, which I really appreciate, as well as a lot of other people like that. It's just awesome. So all that viral guerrilla marketing, to use a kind of a buzzword, it really helps something like this. We need your help with that kind of stuff. Share those posts, share the link. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
So yeah. Cool. Well, that's kind of our wrap up of the Heroes for Heroes segment. Is there anything I'm forgetting for sure that you can think of, Bigby?
There's a lot of stuff that we still have under wraps that you can't really talk about yet. But I mean, no, I think that pretty well covers it. Other than I'm excited with the way things are going. We're gonna blow the lid off of what we were trying to do.
Yeah. By the way, I got my water bottle here with the
hey,
and the Heroes for Heroes Comics Curing Cancer. That's another great cause I want to shout out. Heroes for Heroes. So yeah, that's awesome. Okay. Well, the main thing we're going to talk about tonight, and this I kind of had to separate out all that stuff because it would get too muddy and it'd be kind of it'd be like one of those stories that your mom tells where it's like third cousins are getting introduced. You're like, what's going on here? I can't even follow the thread. So I wanted to separate all the Heroes for Heroes stuff out. And now we're just going to go into our recap of the Rose City Comic Con 2024.
Well, do you want to go? I mean, you were there Friday. I wasn't there. So
that's true. I guess chronologically, we should probably do that because I was there a day early.
Chronologically.
Okay. I talked so much I wanted to make sure I gave you a chance to talk, but I guess technically that's right.
Well, I was supposed to be there Friday. I don't know if you guys know, but up here in the Northwest it was really, really, really hot, and my work I was supposed to be off by noon, then it was 1, then it was 2, then it was 4, and I didn't get home till 6 p.m. and by that time I jumped in the shower with the best of intentions, like I'm going to go. And then I was like, I got out. I was like, I'm so tired and it's not even going to be safe to drive down. So yeah, I was disappointed, but I was disappointed. Soldiered on without me, and it was his birthday. Happy birthday, Bronze.
Thank you. I know it's hard to imagine that I turned 74, but I made it finally, and that's awesome. No, I turned 42 for those that are curious. One thing I've always done on my birthday since I've had this channel is I've done a birthday stream, and I've tried to do giveaways on that stream, and I've also tried to pick up the Uncanny X-Men, or back then it was just X-Men issue for the year of my birth if I didn't already have it. So like when I turned 40, I tried to get issue 40. When I turned 39, I tried to get issue 39. Right?
Okay.
So I already had a couple copies of issue 42. I totally forgot to post it. Forgot to do the giveaway, but I went and did something a little more fun. I had a good time doing it. Hey, what's up, Bleecker Street? Nice to see you in here. It's my 111st birthday. It should be renamed to Bros City Comic Con. That's funny. I like that. But I'll share here a little slideshow because everybody loves those, right? So Friday, I got there super, super, super late. Traffic was a nightmare getting down there. I had stuff I had to do wrap up to get down there. I had to get books pulled for Heroes and for my own stuff too. I'm not going to lie about it. I had stuff I needed to pull. I had most of it, but I had to finish up. And by the time I was there was this huge construction thing going on that nobody cares about outside this area. But it basically meant that the show floor closed at 8. And I got to the show floor from after parking and all that stuff at 6. Well, I had a ticket that I pre-purchased to meet Katie Sackhoff and get an autograph and a photo. And that was the only night she was going to be there. So I had one chance to do that, Eminem style. So Mom Spaghetti was in full effect. And so this is me waiting in line. Obviously, I don't know if you recognize me
waiting in line.
Yeah, I mean, I did cosplay this year. No,
okay.
But wow. Yeah, this R2D2 came wheeling over and just parked itself in line. And I have video clips of it too, but it does the full light up in motion and the compartments open and stuff like that. It's really cool. On the eye that has the Princess Leia doing the hologram, help me Obi-Wan Kenobi thing. It's pretty cool. But this is me meeting Katie. She was very, very gracious. Very nice. She was there with her family. Her family's been going through a lot. If you don't follow her on social media, which actually I didn't even know all the details of it until I saw her and her family there. So, props to her for coming out and doing this. But that was like a dream come true. I rarely ever will pay to do these celebrity meeting things. The last one I did was like 10, 12 years ago. I met like James Marsters and I met Matt Smith and John Barrowman. Like it was kind of a Doctor Who thing. And then I was a huge, Angel and Buffy fan and a fan of James Marsters. So, yeah, it's not set up for that many people. It was pretty bad last year, but it was even worse this year. Friday parking was fine. I was able to park in the garage. It's a short walk to the show. You know what? I'm a fan of hers from. I'll just go forward to the next picture, and everybody can make fun of this as a beat up copy. It was my own personal copy. I don't care. It's what I had. I wasn't going to go buy another copy for this. But it's a very well loved copy. But she wrote to Christopher, So Say We All, Katie Sackhoff, Starbuck. That's where I first met Katie Sackhoff, like as a fan, right? Is Battlestar Galactica, but I've been a fan of everything she's done for the most part. I mean, she was in the show, a short-lived reboot of Bionic Woman that I really loved. Obviously, huge fan of her role in Star Wars as Bo-Katan. And then Longmire, she was in a couple, just one of the Pitch Black movies called Riddick that she was pretty good into. That's basically what we ended up doing.
I don't know what we had to do Saturday, but
yeah,
we're two big guys that don't want to walk a long way. So that was hot.
Yeah, and by the time we left, we were carrying a lot of stuff. But anyways, that was just a dream come true. That was a great birthday present. She was so nice. So that was really fun. Unfortunately, the order of these is going to get a little weird. But speaking of Sleepy Reader, there's Sleepy Reader. I had a chance to meet up with him. That was really fun. David Mack kind of there in the background.
Shirt there.
Yeah. Yep. Reppin'. And then this was some cosplay I saw on the way out. Everyone in this chat's probably going to know the character on the left. At first I thought it was Bayonetta for a second. I know it's Zatanna on the right, but I don't know. I don't know who the character was on the left, but I could tell that they were like they were trying to do some pictures, and I don't know. I just felt like, hey, you're trying really hard, and I can put you on my YouTube channel and show off your cosplay. And they were just like happy that somebody was kind of noticing that they were trying to do that. Okay, so that takes us to Saturday. So I'll kind of just use that picture to set the scene as we talk about Saturday. So Bigby, I've been talking this whole time.
Shut it up.
So I've been talking this whole time, man. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the start of Saturday at the show from your perspective and everything, since that was the first time you got there?
So Saturday morning, Christopher came over and picked me up at myself and Travis from Comics Limited. We all decided to carpool, and we headed on down there, and both of the parking garages were full. And so we dropped Travis off in the middle of the street. And we were surprisingly chill and happy and jolly, and just even though we were just driving around. Christopher and I don't know you guys, Christopher and I enjoy each other's company immensely. So
yeah.
It doesn't matter what we're doing. So
he has a very calming presence for me, which is what usually people say about me, but I was super amped up that morning. I was like, come on, let's go.
I got it.
He called me.
So we parked over at Lloyd Center, and we caught as will be explained in my video, we caught a Lyft, not an Uber, as I say. Brand is important.
I heard Lyft treats their drivers better. I don't know if that's really true, so that's who I tend to use. But
right, and we got on down there, and we got in line, and very festive. They had all kinds of live music being played while you were in line, and relatively quick to get inside the building. Didn't take all that long. I mean, for how many people there was a lot of people, and I think when we were in line for maybe 3 or 4 minutes, it wasn't that long. We're just like zoom right through the thing. I mean, it never stopped moving. It just fed right into the thing. So right into the center. So and we walked in. We were getting some mess. Reception in there is kind of wonky. We had a dropped phone call and tried to hook up with somebody. We're like, well, screw it, we're just going to walk in. And so that
was Dr. Plagueis, wasn't it?
It was Plagueis, yeah. He was like, I'm in section, and then it just went out. Hey, you got Abraham Lincoln there. What the heck? They had some pretty cool cars there. They had the DeLorean. Yeah. They had the Batmobile was there from Michael Keaton's Batmobile. Ghostbusters, yeah, Ecto-1. Yeah, so we ran into some of our friends, and then we started hunting for comics. So I think the first people we ran into was Mike from Lunch Money Comics, Dr. Plagueis, and you and I got together. And then later on, we ran into Chris from Comic Tropes, and we also ran into Dave, West Coast Dave Enders. And so it was just really fun hanging out with these different groups of people, and just again, I was just really being like chill, and I had no like preconceived like this is what I'm going to do. Where Chris had a lot of like stuff that was like, there we go, like he had a mission that he wanted to take care of, and I was like, hey, I'm here to help you do that. So whatever I need to do, carry bags, be supportive, stand in line, and keep your spirits up, whatever you're doing. So we just had a really great time.
I was just to say real fast, as I put the picture up, it took me a second to get it up there. So in front, I'm sure most of you might know that's Mike from Lunch Money Comics. Obviously, You see Bigby and I in there, and then shout out to Dr. Plagueis making his debut in the back there.
First appearance.
First full appearance, as you pointed out. That was pretty funny because his hands were in some. He had a cameo.
Right. So yeah, we actually had to like step outside so we could be heard. But actually, so we were going to show books that we picked up while we were there. I actually picked up my first 2 books before we even left to go to the show. There's the Batmobile. So I picked up 2 books from Travis, and I'll show those real quick. So I picked up the first appearance of the Black Widow and the second appearance of the Black Widow.
Couple awesome books.
Yeah, so second appearance is in a lot higher grade than the first, but I'll take it. This book is one that was on I've got a video of like, I think it's like 60 big keys that I wanted to get for the year, and this is one of them. So there we go. So pick those up before we even left for the show.
I think it's pronounced Hack, I'm assuming, HAQ. He is not actually from Portland. He's from the Northeast.
The other side of the country.
Yeah, it was a destination thing for him. I'll keep it very vague. He was visiting some family out here, which I will say they were the nicest hosts and awesome people I've had the pleasure of meeting in a very long time. Yeah, they were super, super generous. So,
and then Mike had brought some books. He had posted something on Instagram a while ago, and I said, hey, I'm interested in those, and he said, I'll just bring them with me on the plane. So I picked up some books from Mike when I got there. So some Tales of Suspense, just a cool red skull cover. We got the first MODOK.
Great books.
The first meeting of Cap and the Black Panther, and the first appearance of Killmonger. So yeah, so just some cool books and a great deal on them. A buddy of his was trying to sell them at a local flea market, and he posted them on Instagram, and I ponied up the dough. So
nice,
because I don't think it actually went through a bin, but I bought a lot of comics.
I thumbed through a couple bins. I bought one comic at the show,
right?
Period. And yeah,
I would say that was one of the things. Like there wasn't a lot of comic tables. Like maybe 7 or 8 tables of table, or 7 or 8 booths of people selling comics. But the show nonetheless was just super enjoyable.
There were at least 2 fudge, but yeah. So I guess real fast, I'll kind of Bigby's alluding to it there. I'll kind of give the impression of the show floor. First of all, you run into characters like this. I'm kidding. This guy's awesome. That's John. If you guys don't know, that's John Stout. You see him in chats and stuff. He's a local. He wore this to SummerCon. When I first time I met him, he was wearing this. He is a huge Batman fan. So that is cool. And by the way, he's one of the ones that donated those books I talked about earlier. So huge shout out to that. But keep Portland weird is a thing. That's a movement, and it's true. At Portland, at Rose City Comic Con, you're likely to see a lot of dice vendors. I bought Harry Potter homemade, hand whittled and carved wands for my wife and daughter last year. Your fudge pavilions, tattoo booths.
Literally, like who said that? Was it Mignola and his significant other had just gotten tattoos? Well, I think Mike said that.
Yeah, I think he said they got them that morning.
And he said he thought they were joking, and he looked over. He's like, "Oh, he's bleeding." He literally just got a too.
It's nuts. It's more, and a lot of, by the way, there's so many indie publishers and people in that Portland area. You know, Dark Horse, if you're not familiar, is by far the most famous name. They're from around there, so you will definitely see a lot of their presence there. But you do get a lot of that. Don't get me wrong. But comic vendors, now there's some really good ones.
Some really good ones, yeah.
Like Comics Limited works over at I Like Comics, and he was working their booth this weekend. They are, they're ostensibly, I think, the largest comic book shop in the Northwest. At least that's what they say. I don't have any evidence to dispute that. They're a shop that you walk into and you will regularly find 10 X-Men 1s, a couple AF-15s, every key you can think of from that Silver Age.
Right.
Right when you walk in, there,
right there in the front of the right in the front of the
it's nuts. And so they buy and sell a lot of comic books, so they're huge. And there's some other huge shops too, of course. But yeah, you'll see some vendors that got one of my favorite vendors that goes by, and I know he'll watch this at some point. I'm so sorry, Mike from Prestige Worldwide Comics was there. I walked by, had every intention of getting back to him. This is a running theme. There's so many things that I wanted to do that I never had time to do. And I was having fun and I was meeting a lot of great people, talking to a lot of great people, but I just regretted not being able to have more time, like on Friday, because I got there late. I wasn't back on Sunday. If I'd done either of those things, I think I would have checked a lot of things off. But he's another great vendor. He used to be from Washington. He moved out to Montana, but he comes back for these shows. Nice guy, great books. And there's a couple other great vendors there as well. I don't want to... West Coast Comics, Poteet's Comics, a couple other great ones, but there's just not very many.
I think he's at Frankenstein as well, another really great one. But yeah, some really awesome vendors, and like so many talented new up and coming artists. They just you turn left and right, and it was like, oh, who's that? Oh wow, what's that? That's so cool! Like just great styles and images that they're selling, prints of stuff that they've come up with. And so if you want to meet some new up and coming guys, great place to do that.
Yeah, there's several people I've met over the years at Rose City that go on to do much bigger and better things. That's true of most shows I know, but I mean I think they have a pretty high hit rate.
Yeah, they're like a really big like artist area.
Yeah. Speaking of which, so I'll just show a few more pictures since I'm kind of in that area of the show here. That's Greg Rucka, masked up, but hey, Greg Rucka is there. He donated the signs. He donated last year. I had him sign a personal favorite comic of mine that I love that no one else probably cares that much about, but it was awesome to have him sign that. Unfortunately, I didn't get a clear enough picture of Butts on Things, but that's a booth you'll find. It's back there. I promise. And then, little spoiler, Simon Beasley. How many comic booths do you think are at the Fudge Con? I would say that there was 10 for sure, and I bet you there was a couple more I missed.
He's saying, how many comic booths do you think are at the Fudge Con? I mean, we had Fudge booths at the Comic Con.
Oh, I thought he was just saying Rose City Comic Con was the Fudge Con.
No, I think he's saying, how many comic booths do you think are at the Fudge Con?
That makes sense. Oh, hey, we mentioned Dave. There's West Coast right there. Had fun running him. That's the second time I met him, but the first time I never actually got a photo with him. So he was working a booth at the first show. This one he was running around. Nice guy, really nice guy,
super nice
guy. This is I hope I remember her. I think it's Kelly McMahon is her name. I hope I got that right. Chris was
artist.
Yeah, Chris from Comic Tropes was over there talking to her, looking at some new pens that she had, and some just her amazing stuff. And I was just sitting there like staring at these prints while he's talking to her, because he had I don't have it next to me, but he had like this awesome. She had this awesome Bluey print, and I can kind of zoom in. You can kind of see it. Like there's this Care Bears kind of artwork that is kind of a minimalist. Yeah. Inside Out, and she just does amazing work. She's done some covers too. She's done some stuff in the Supermassive, Radiant Black universe. She did that new book Cowl. She has some covers coming out for that from Image. So definitely go check her out.
And most importantly, she's Australian.
Yeah, well, so my daughter being a huge Bluey fan, I'm like, not only is she doing this awesome blue art, she's also Australian. Like, I mean, it's just, I had to pick up a couple prints for her. Kelly McDonald.
I was trying to pronounce it. Iconography.
Iconography, I believe, is the. Yeah. But yeah, I could be wrong.
Her artwork is just very like clean and beautiful.
Very, very talented, very nice too. She was extremely nice. So let me see. I'm going to see here because it's kind of. Oh yeah, that makes perfect sense. He donated some of the Heroes for Heroes artwork, and you'll see a couple things I have from him. Besides that, here in a second, or actually, I guess one thing. But that's Lee Weeks. His name is in the background. That's not Minnie Lee. That's Lee Weeks. Just one of my favorite. Another kind of person I think is kind of underrated. Just so many covers that I and artwork in general that I love of Lee's. So that was just cool to run into him. Well,
I got the piece from Chris's friend. Hey, speaking of Chris. We saw Chris talking to his friend, and later on I ran into him. I said, I saw Chris looking through your portfolio. Would you mind if I looked? And I filmed it, and then he was like, would you like one of the pieces? And I was like, are you kidding me? Chris, your friend Mo gave me this piece out of his portfolio. Beautiful Dr. Doom piece, watercolors, just amazing. Signed it, personalized it to me.
It's freaking gorgeous.
It's amazing. His artwork. It's going to be. I'm putting the video up tonight of the con, and looking through his artwork, it just blows me away. I mean, and nicest guy in the world. Inspiring to me because I'm an older artist wanting to break in and do things, and he also is an older gentleman, and just super cool. His name was Rob Morrison, but he goes by Mo. So
okay,
but yeah, so just love that piece.
Oh, gorgeous. Like Chris from Comic Tropes, he went up to him and just wanted to talk to him for a minute, and it was really, by the way, that's something that happened several times. It was very cool to see people light up, their faces light up, and Bigby saw a couple really fun moments too. But he's showing his portfolio to Comic Tropes. And I have a fly in here that badly timed decided to land on my nose. It was just like page after page, every one I was like dropping my jaw more as he went further into his little sketchbook. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like very talented.
Apparently he's good friends with Simon Beasley too, because he's talking to Simon, and then I was filming his portfolio, and then Simon was it Dave that Simon gave a beer to?
That was Comic Tropes.
Oh, it was Comic Tropes. Okay.
Yeah.
And then he offered,
maybe both. I don't know.
Taken it. He offered one to me. I should have taken it and said, "Hey, autograph it, sign it, sign it, Beasley on the beer. I'll keep it forever." I guess that's a thing. People bring it to him, and he doesn't drink anymore. So.
Oh, okay. I was saying we could call him Simon Beersley, but that actually would be wrong then to do that.
Yeah, no. So that's he says now I just give it away to the people walking around the con. So.
No, that was really cool.
So yeah, it was cool to see, like you said, like the way people lit up seeing Chris, and like how people recognize both of us, and that was kind of cool. Yeah. And then I don't know if you have this to show, but Chris's friends.
I've got that, but you've got it right there. I would have to grab my stack. So why don't you show that off?
The complete series of Survival Street, which I guess is like a post-apocalyptic Sesame Street, which I can't wait to read it. It looks amazing. And I love the guy's sign that he had in his booth. It said "Artist and Future Skeleton." I mean,
oh, that was awesome. Well, and the coolest thing about his name was it James Asmus? Was that his name?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Asman. Yeah. I need to look at his name on the book, but
James Asmus.
Okay, so the coolest thing he did, I thought, he did a lot of cool things. But one of the I'll make you big there. One of the coolest things he's doing is he's done a kind of a series, I guess, because it's for different publishers probably, of cookbooks where he's been like a co-writer with a chef.
Yeah.
And so he did one for Supernatural, and he's working on a Wolverine themed one. He had, I think it was just kind of a general Marvel one there too, I believe. I might be mistaken on that third one.
He did the whole section on kebabs in the Wolverine one, right?
he was just well, first of all, he flagged down comic tropes just to say, hey, you know, it, and that turned into a delightful conversation. It was just great.
Saw that happen a lot, Chris. So like, just props to you and everybody. Like you said, Portland's been very kind, but it's because you're great content. And everybody loves what you do, buddy. So I mean,
and it was so cool to, I mean, there was not just Chris who definitely deserves that, and it was great to see that because that was his first time at Rose City Comic Con, so a lot of people were so excited. But also Lunch Money Comics. I mean, that was really cool to see people hearing some of the stories too. Of, a couple of really memorable ones. People recognizing him that were really fun, and you know, that was just really cool. So
yeah, it was amazing. It was just so fun.
Yeah, and Sicko, we're kind of showing that stuff off now a little bit. I'll actually, you know what? Actually, what I need to do, we need to take our second ad break. Is what we really need to do.
Okay, well, I'll tease something since we were talking about cookbooks.
Oh, we might have some slice of pizza coming up here, huh? So yeah, we're gonna take our second little ad break here. We'll be back in a couple minutes. Trust me, we've got some of the coolest things we've saved for last year. So definitely stay tuned. And remember, if you're not watching over on the EXP, you're about to see some commercials for some of their content. Go sub them up and go watch over there. Hit up Bigby's channel if you're watching on my channel. Go do that as well over there.
Roll around.
Yeah. And there's some great content that you're really going to enjoy seeing. Or I'll give you your money back. All right. See you in a couple minutes here, folks.
Whoa. Did you miss it? Yeah, they can go by pretty fast. Let's slow down the footage.
Welcome. It's time to skim some comics. Miles Morales Spider-Man, I will just tell you that Miles is very important in his role as a vampire. So
It's fine. If you like Hercules, read it. If you don't like it, don't worry about it. It's fine.
The art is still stunning. There's a panel, little spoiler, there's a panel in this where Chitauri first hits Lion-O, and he is the best "did she really just hit me" face I've ever seen put in a comic book.
Wow, live reviews of new comic books so you can be ready for New Comic Book Day. What is this? Oh, I see. It's Minute to Skim It. Part of the experience.
According to a statistic that I just made up, people spend 4 hours a day changing the television channel. People who watch The Experience don't do that. Save yourself a ton of time by tuning into The Experience and enjoying our new original programming 7 days a week. And then tell your friends. Think about the money they could save on batteries in the remote alone just by tuning into The Experience. Find out more by scanning the QR code below.
In a world where you hit like and subscribe on our YouTube channel.
That'd be really great. Thanks.
And we're back. You can still see the backstage raving we usually do there. Sickotron's asking if we found any books, and so I do want to show off a couple things real fast just to kind of satiate the people. Like, what did you get?
Things.
Bigby showed off a little bit of that. I'll show off a little bit of what I got. So a lot of this, like I said, it's not really so much what I got. There's one book in here that I bought at the con, but I got some things signed at the con. I already saw that earlier. That's the Katie Sackhoff photo cover. I already have a copy of her first cover appearance as Bo-Katan signed by her, so I thought that'd be fun to get the Bo-Katan. Now I've got the Starbuck to go with it. You saw my Detective 1027 that I put up for Heroes, triple signed by Matt Fraction, Greg Rucka, and Chip Zdarsky. Here's my copy of that, which is the J. Scott Campbell cover, signed by all those same people now.
So cool.
Yeah. I'll show off because this was really cool, and it's got the QR code on it, so maybe somebody can make use of that. This is the Survival Street swag that James had that Bigby was just talking about. And here's a little sticker he did too, which is really, really fun. And then, yeah, he was nice enough to hand those out to us. So I look forward to reading this. It sounded like a really fun. That's the kind of stuff I'm into when it comes to that humor and weird, funny comics.
Yeah, it looked really, yeah. Like, oh, show the cover. Yeah, all of them. I should too.
Yeah,
I think we number 1 and number 4. So,
oh, if you open them up, I think they're all in there.
Yeah. No, I just showed the front and the back. But
this actually got some traction. I think Patton Oswalt showed a picture of him with it. This is from David F. Walker. David F. Walker is a fantastic writer. Yeah, I know. We both got it. We both had it signed. It's a preview of his book is coming out next month. I've had some great conversations with David F. Walker before. Really, really knowledgeable about comic book history and the creative process, and just you can tell he's a huge fan of Marvel. He knows everything about I think having him and Jim Shooter in a room having a conversation would be pretty fun. I have Greg Rucka.
Him as a guest sometime.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah. He's already agreed to do it. When I first talked to him about it, I was young and in doing this whole thing, and I was kind of nervous. I'm a big Cyclops fan, so I had Greg Rucka sign my Cyclops #1 that he wrote, which is a great read about young Cyclops reuniting with his father, doing some space pirate stuff. I had Simon Beasley sign my Lobo #1.
That's an awesome cover. I love that.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, shout out to Agu, who helped me with a rookie mistake I made. I got a little bit of a tape pull on this book when I was getting it out for the signing there on the corner, but rookie mistake. Always watch what you're doing. I use painter's tape, but it's a black cover that's printed, in a way that it's still going to pull. This is so awesome.
Colossus Collector just showed on his when he got Claremont to sign.
Oh,
he didn't watch, and Claremont put the second book on top of the paint pen signed book.
I hate that. That's too bad. I mean, obviously they're just going through it, and
right. Yeah.
I had Larry Hama sign this 2 years ago at Washington State Summer Con. This is one of my favorite issues of the original Marvel run of G.I. Joe because it showed that there's actually consequences to what happens. This is G.I. Joe 109. This is the infamous Trucial Abysmia story where several Joes die in a brutal killing. I had Lee Weeks, who's the cover artist, sign it. I've had Larry Hama sign it. And I also had Randy Emberlin, who is the inker on this, who was also there. So now it's signed by, pretty much half the creative team there. So that's really awesome. What's that?
It's a darn that Saw Viper.
Yeah, exactly. This is a Mark Jewelers variant of G.I. Joe 77. Lady J and Zorana are two of my favorite characters. I've interviewed Randy before. He was the inker on this issue. I couldn't find a copy of G.I. Joe 65, his first issue, so I grabbed this since it was a Mark Jewelers, and it's just a fun cover. I had him sign that.
Copy. That's a sharp copy.
Yeah, it's a good book. I'll save that for after we talk about Chris Warner. So I had Chris Warner. I picked this up last year at Rose City Comic Con. Dark Horse Presents number 36. This is the first Alien versus Predator issue that takes place in the pages of Dark Horse Presents there. And I had Chris sign that in silver there. There you go. See, it's kind of there.
Very nice. Very nice.
And when I was at his booth, he was grabbing the prints. This is one of the boxes I flipped through. He has a short box of some of his books. There are 2 short boxes with some barbed wire, some Ghost, some Predator stuff, some Alien stuff. And he had a first print of Predator #1. Pretty sharp. It's got a little ding here that would press out, I think. But he had this Predator #1 first print. And he gave me a better than sticker price deal on that. Nice. So I got that for $50, which is really nice of him to do. On the way out of the show, I ran into Brian Michael Bendis and waved, said hi 5 times. And one of those times I said, "Are you coming back to your booth? Because I know it's getting near the end of Saturday." And he said, "I'll be over at this Dark Horse panel. Hit me up. I'll sign anything you have there." I said, "Great, thank you." And I've had him sign stuff before at Rose City Comic Con. He's an amazingly nice guy. Jumping ahead a little bit, we went to Chris's panel. We'll kind of go through that full story in a second that he was doing. After that panel, I went over and talked to Brian because I saw him leaving with his family. I said, "I'm sorry, I know you're with your family. You'd mentioned I could come over and have you sign this. Is that okay?" He was awesome enough to sign this. Ultimate Comics #1. That's the first Miles in his own series as a solo. Very cool to have him sign that.
Great book to get signed.
And then we get to Chris Pacello. So I had one of these in the Heroes for Heroes pile, and I got one for myself. I had a few copies of that, so I grabbed one for me because I love that Doctor Strange run. I also am a huge Summers fan. Like Cyclops is my favorite character, so this is the first appearance of Hope Summers. I had him sign.
I signed in a great spot too. That's awesome.
Yeah. And then, honestly, highlight of the con for me, I was Christmas morning, kid in the candy store.
I got a picture of you with that big old smile for that one.
Well, and I'll show a picture here in a second of him doing it.
Right.
So Chris Pacello, he has, by the way, this is really nice. He has a chair in front of his booth. I highly recommend that for any artist that's going to be doing a line. And
just like sit down, come sit down. Right.
It's pronounced Sienkiewicz. So X-Men Unlimited #1 is actually my favorite, like, self-contained X-Men story of all time. I read it tons and tons and tons of times when I was a kid. We'll talk about it later when we talk about more of our comic book origin stuff. It almost made the cut for that stream last week, but I was too busy talking about a couple other X-Men related books. But I have a nice newsstand copy of it. I also have my original copy, but it's super beat up. But I had this nice newsstand copy. I was like, I'll take this and I'll have him sign it. I also had him remark it with my favorite character. So this is X-Men Unlimited #1. He was so generous to do a quick remark on this. And he just did it in pencil, and then he went over again in pen. And just to have him do that, and he did it for a song, like, I was just literally, I had to sing. It was crazy. No, it was so nice.
Okay, you have a good voice. You have a good voice. It's okay.
Yeah, and I the best part about it is I got to have a story from him about working on this book, and I was asking him, hey, do you remember doing this book? And he said, yeah. This was a huge book in my career. This was like basically my first work at Marvel. And it was such a big deal for me. And he just kind of went on about that a little bit, and just being able to like hear that story about a comic book that I grew up reading over and over and over again. By the way, we had like a little thing later on over at Mike's family's house on Lunch Money Comics. And he had the same sentiment. He's like, yeah, I read that story a bunch when I was a kid. It's just such a great issue.
Books.
But here is Chris doing that remark, laying it down, and that was the pencil, I believe. And then there's a picture of me and him together. And then, I think it's out of order, but I think I have that picture. Let me see if I can find it real fast.
Doing your big old smile.
Oh, I did it not?
Didn't download that one? It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah. But
yes.
Oh, here it is.
There it is.
So it was awesome. It was such a great experience meeting him and having that done. So that was kind of my creator portion of what I did at the show. Tons and tons and tons of conversation. Hey, there's David F. Walker in the background, actually. Tons of conversations with creators about Heroes for Heroes. It was a great time.
So at some point in the middle of the thing, Bronze decided he needed coffee. Real coffee, not just coffee, real coffee. And I started getting texts from a friend of mine. He said, hey, I think I'm going to come down to the show and sell some of my Avengers books. And I was like what? And he was like, oh, I'll meet up with you. So there we are waiting for Bronze to get his coffee. But my friend shows up, and he says, What's that?
And we were waiting for your friend too. That's
Yeah,
out
yeah.
of Travis Comics Limited, if you don't know.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
fair.
that was Travis from Comics Limited. And he shows up and hands me a pile of books, and so I'll show the book. I did end up buying the books because he was like, "Well, I'm not going to get anywhere near what I get from you from a vendor." So I got a First Nebula. We're going to go backwards in time here. These are all Avengers books. So the Trial of Yellow Jacket. Got,
Controversial issue.
yes. Wonder Man versus the Vision. Kirby cover. Looks like Kirby. Anyway. 105. And 86. And 39. And Chris is like, people are really literally texting you and bringing you books while we're waiting for coffee.
Well, you led with the book you're going to show at the end here, and I was like, wait, what?
Right. Number 28, which I think is the first collector.
That sounds right to me.
Yep. A number 20.
I will get to that question.
And the book that he led with, Avengers number 2. So I picked up that whole stack of books while we were waiting for coffee.
It's like it was about an hour wait to get coffee. I'm just standing there in line, just like dying to sit down, because it's like I waited in line longer for coffee than I waited at all Artists Alley stuff put together. Luckily, about halfway through, Bigby was able to snipe a table and sit down, and we had Comics Limited come over and join us. And then while I'm waiting in line, right before I'm getting ready to get in the door to the coffee place, another YouTuber that a lot of people will know, actually 2 YouTubers that a lot of people will know.
I was looking on Instagram, and there was a little Rose by her name. And I said, I just messaged her. I'm not going to say who, but I messaged her. And I said, "Are you here at Rose City?" And she said, "Yes." And I said, "Where?" And she sends me a message with a picture of me over her shoulder. She says, "I'm in line to get my badge. I'll be right over." So now I'll let you go ahead.
Well, but so for me, it's funny because I'll let you say who that person was, because I knew she was going to be there, but I don't know her by face, like by instant sight recognizability. But I've had a lot of, kind of little short Instagram conversations with a YouTuber named Fire Guy Ryan. He's Comic Tom's co-host on their podcast. If you're not familiar, that might jog your memory a little bit. They did a comic book together recently. And I'm just like, "Hey, Ryan." And I see him kind of do that, like look the wrong way kind of thing, because the echo probably came the wrong way. So I yelled it again, and he looks over, he's like, "Hey," he like blows me a kiss. It was pretty awesome. I'll just say he was with the person that Bigby's about to talk about. I didn't notice it just because of how they were walking until like a few seconds later. I'm like, "Oh, I recognize who that was now." But I also, he bumped into me with her again when I was doing the Chris Pacello stuff. I was just like, I would love to say hi, but I'm having this interaction, or I'm stuck in the line that I can't hop out of. But yeah, who was he with, Bigby?
He was somebody from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, who owns 3 shops, who's a YouTube personality. Tessa is a nerd. Was there, flew all the way over to Rose City Comic Con, and was kind enough to stop by and say hi. Do you have a picture of that or no?
Let me see. While I'm doing that, Chris had a question for you that might be something you can
Sure.
I'll look and see if I have it.
Yep. So let's see. Give me special note to art lovers. Wait till you see wonderful Wally Wood's inking of Dawn's drawing in this great issue. So there you go.
That's awesome.
So Wally Wood.
So I will actually just try to pull up Instagram real fast, because I know it's on your Instagram, isn't it? Oh, maybe not.
I sent you a picture of it on Instagram.
Okay. Yeah, if you do that, I'll put it up if you want me to. I don't have it in the ones you sent me.
I thought I sent it to you. Okay.
It's possible. I just don't have it in these. I have like 6 or so photos, and I'm not seeing it.
Okay.
But speaking of which, here's one that another one I hadn't shown yet. So that's Bigby and Me, and then West Coast Avengers and Comic Tropes. Again, that was a fun picture.
Let me send you that. We got to prove that she was there, right?
That's funny.
There's a video on both my YouTube and my Instagram of her and Fire Guy Ryan hanging out.
And there's a better shot of your stickers and artwork there, and Travis,
my lifelong buddy Trav. Pretty much, I mean, since we were like 12, we've been friends.
And then I'll just give him. This is awesome. I'll give a quick shout out to him while you're looking at that. This is jumping ahead. I'm jumping out of order, but I just went by the photo so many times I had to show it. This is a piece he did for Lunch Money Comics, and I'll zoom in as best I can. I know it's going to get a little blurry, but he did this awesome Nightcrawler he showed me that morning when I got to his house, and that was just such a cool moment. So that's really cool they got to do that in person and from across the coast, basically from across the country. That was really neat. So yeah.
While Chris was standing in line, I got a slice of pizza, which is actually a comic book. They have vaguely pizza themed comic books. Some of them are horror, some of them are adventure, and this was by Rodente Comics, and they are going to be in my video. You'll be able to see them, and you can find them online, and you can order these serial numbered to 100 hand put together books. They're pretty entertaining. So pretty neat guys. They were guys who work for Oni, who had their own video.
Yeah.
So there you go. How did you get that pic? I sent it to you.
Yeah, I gotta just share the tab here.
It's just a screen grab, so it's not the greatest pic, but
there we go.
There she is.
And that's Fire Guy running in the background. And then I think, kind of somewhere behind that picture, I'd be back there behind that glass somewhere, but just wasn't meant to be this time. This time,
Gadget, not this time. So, but yeah, the super great hanging out and talk to them for just a little bit, and a lot of people you just want to grab and say hi, good to see you, and I hope things are going well, and which I saw on Tessa's feed. She got to hang with Jen. I was not fortunate enough to hang with her, but I was able to run into some of her friends, and because I told her I would give her one of my stickers and all that good stuff. So
yeah, it sounded like for those that have kind of paid attention to the past, we talked about it. Comics Will Break Your Heart has a fight with cancer going on that's pretty intense. So it sounded like there were some issues that prevented her from being at the show all day, which is understandable, but it was unfortunate we didn't get a chance to say hi to her again. Wish her the best for sure. I know it's a tough show.
She was there for a good chunk of the day, though. There's a lot of people I didn't happen. There was a lot of people there, so I didn't happen to cross paths with them. So,
Actual Dracula, I don't know if you're still watching, but this is Chip Zdarsky's reaction after I told him that I know you online and watched your interview. That's that look of terror in his face is from me talking to you. So just thought you might appreciate that. Speaking of Simon Beasley, I got a quick photo with him too. Awesome guy.
With the butts on things in the background.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, if you piece together those two photos from then and earlier, you can see all the butts and things. And then we capped off the day at the con watching this panel. I know Chris told the story on his channel on Pros and Cons as his second channel. I highly recommend you go and hear his perspective on this. I wanted to make sure I snapped a couple photos, and I did part of a short video of him introducing himself at the con as well. But it was too freaking hot to keep filming and holding my arms up over everybody back there, and it was a hot show.
I mean, it was hot, and the AC at the show was struggling to keep up. I mean, it was that hot.
Yeah. So I feel for a lot of the people that were in cosplay, especially, which I'll answer Chris's question about that in a second. But yeah, this was a cool panel. I don't know everybody's full name is on the panel, but they're all professionals who work in and around comic books in ways that aren't necessarily as the writer or the illustrator. And it was kind of about breaking into comics in different avenues. So you have people that do things like the gentleman on the left is a flatter for colors who does basically early color work before the colorist gets a hold of the comic book. Then you have the person next to him whose name is Zach Davidson, I think. I probably butchered that, is a translator that does, he actually is translating Peach Momoko's text for Ultimate X-Men right now. He had one of the greatest jokes I heard all day long, which was, hey, I'm Zach and I draw Batman.
And then pregnant pause, and then not professionally, I just draw Batman, and not very well either. But
it killed me. It killed me during the show. That was great.
And he did later on. He used the same thing. He goes, and I write X-Men, sort of.
Sort of. Yeah, Zach Davison. Okay. Yeah, he co-writes with Peach. Okay, so does he? Maybe that was a little more clarification. I thought he just translated her text because he does a lot of Japanese to English, and I think the other way around too, translation. But yeah, that was awesome. And then I know you spoke with the next person, so I'll let you tell that story a little bit more because I know you have more of an understanding of what she was.
I don't remember her name.
Yeah, she was the last minute addition to the panel. I know that. It's so terrible. This is two people bad with names trying to remember who everybody is.
All right, I texted the name of the gal to Trav. Hang on 1 second, because we wanted to follow up.
Chris will tell us in about 4 seconds, and be,
right before I get it.
Just absolutely disgusted with us for not remembering these people's names. But it was tough to pay attention when you have ADHD in the back and it's 90 degrees.
Her name was Kel McDonald, and
Kel McDonald, yeah,
and Iron Circus.
That's the only part I remembered, and I felt bad just referring to her that way.
Right.
But basically, she had a lot of great input about what it's like to be an editor on the editing side and work for, especially talking about doing anthology work to break into comic books, which is a really smart idea. And it's probably one of the easier ways.
Yeah, and then there's that guy that's sitting next to her. What's his name?
Yeah, Valentine. He does comic prints. I don't know exactly what he does in comics other than that, but I know he started out, at least it sounded like, selling prints at cons. Unfortunately, he didn't really get a share as much of.
He didn't talk much.
Yeah, and it's too bad. I wish I could have thought of a good question. I know one person was amazing and went up and asked a great question about how many prints they should bring to him, and that was a great question. But unfortunately, these panels, they go so quick, and there was so much good information. But it was a great panel. It was one of those panels that it really gives you a good idea of what it's like to not. We all think about being a writer, a penciler, or an inker, or maybe a letterer, or something like that, colorist. But we don't really think too much about some of those other roles. And like Chris, for example, who has worked professionally in comics, he's worked for some indie comics, and done some art, and was even nominated for an Eisner Award for one of his anthology books he worked on. But he also does comic book YouTube, which is another way that we're associated with comic books. He brought up a great point. You talk about people in distribution. You talk about people even at LCSs. They're working in comics, comic adjacent. So,
right. No, and a lot of they're talking about there's a lot of business type jobs in comics that you don't think of, like marketing and all that kind of stuff too. But you're working in a field that you enjoy. So it's kind of neat.
And then right after that,
great information. Do you remember how many prints you should bring to a show, Bronze?
So he said, I want to say he said 12 different prints, about 10 each.
I think
is about what he would say.
10 to 12 of each one, and then minimum of 12 different ones to bring. So
I can remember information. I just can't remember names.
Right. He's brought as many as what do you say? as many as 100 to some shows, but he knew they were really good sellers, and that wasn't his first show.
Right,
So,
right. Yeah, that was a good question.
It's a great question.
So then I just to wrap it up, because as far as pictures go, this is kind of a natural conclusion here, because right after that panel, I was able to go say hi to Matt Fraction, which was really awesome. So I had him sign those Detective Comics books I showed off, and got a nice little picture with him, which was fun. Been a big fan of his for a long time, so that was really cool. Somebody I just didn't have a chance to meet. I think he was pretty much only doing the Dark Horse stuff there, so that was fun to do. And then after all that, after that, we said some final kind of goodbyes to some people. We talked to a group of people that do some awesome work with One of One Funko Pops.
We met Jen's friends. That's where I left my sticker for her. They have a podcast. What's their Marvel by the Month is their podcast.
Marvel by the Month, yeah.
They also do stuff about monsters. So they can give me a pin. Yeah.
Don't have his card handy. But after all that, we got to go over to Lunch Money Comics, Mike's family's place.
Mm-hmm.
We said goodbye to Chris. I got a chance to say goodbye to him, which was such a fun day hanging out. Not the full day, but a good chunk of it, hanging out with him and being able to just see faces light up. That was so fun. That was really cool. And
we joked around that Chris was the warm handoff for us for Heroes, because he would talk to people, and then we'd be like, "Oh, we're friends of Chris." Or there was the one guy that I was talking to who was doing some art, and I said, "Oh, well, I'm a YouTuber and I'm hanging out with my friends here," and he looked up and he recognized me, Bronze, Dave, West Coast Dave, and Comic Trust, and he about fell over. He was like, "I know all of you guys."
he was a wholly expletive deleted. Right. That's comic tropes. That was pretty great.
It was pretty funny.
But yeah, no, that was really nice. Chris is a very recognized person. He's done a lot of great interviews. He's met a lot of these people before, and so most of them, I was swinging him like, "Hey, I've got something I was hoping you would sign, or I was going to pick this thing up, or something like that." And so that was just a really nice progression. But yeah, we ended up at Mike's house and we went around. There'll be a video. I don't think it's up on his channel yet.
In a couple weeks. Yeah.
But there was this awesome moment at the end of the show, which I think kind of encapsulates it. Not everybody could be there because, of course, so many people like Chris was just saying, he had to get back home.
But Ron did convey your wishes to say goodbye, and everything was right. It was nice.
Yeah, absolutely. But this was kind of how we capped off the night, and it was a lot of fun. It was like kind of a surreal feeling to just have gone through all that. I'm jealous because some of these folks got to hang out the next day a little bit more. Do some comic hunting and meet some other collectors in the area and do some other fun stuff. But that was kind of the end of my journey. So
that's Dan there on the end. We didn't talk about him, but that's Dan from Dan's X-Men.
Yep. So. Dan's X-Men Comics. You got Dr. Plagueis, Travis Comics Limited, Mike from Lunch Money Comics. Us two guys on the end you probably should recognize. So just a fantastic time. And there's so many things that I didn't like. I mean, I didn't get a chance to talk to Mirka Andolfo. I didn't get a chance to talk to David Finch. I didn't get a chance to talk to Mike Mignola, who I really, really, really wanted to meet and have sign a few books, and a couple others. It was really sad. And then there's several people I knew that were there, and I just either hope to reconnect with Sleepy Reader. I'd hope to see Mike from Prestige Worldwide. I'd hope to see just a lot of people and didn't get a chance to say hello to them. So I'm really sorry to the people that were there, that knew I was there, that never saw me. Saturday was a very busy day. It was very hot. It was very hot. And then so Chris, before we do our last ad break, he did ask, what was the best cosplay you each saw? For him, it was one of his favorite little-known video games, Katamari. I think it's Katamari Damacy, but it might be Katamari Damacy. I don't know the correct pronunciation. It's a fun game. You kind of roll around as a ball and take over the world, basically. Yeah. So what was your favorite cosplay?
Oh, gosh, there were so many. When we were waiting in line for coffee, there was that cosplay break area that that we got to sit by, and everyone. There was that big, tall. He looked like the Moon Knight, the big.
Yeah, I've got a photo that I can pull up because I know that was going to come up.
Right.
Right here, and I'll zoom in. Unfortunately, this was kind of a blurry photo because I had to snap it real fast. But he's on stilts. When he came like level with us, he was twice as tall as we were.
There was an awesome Samus.
Yeah.
Hey, there's me like, look, what the? There was a lot of really amazing cosplay. I mean, Khonshu, Chris, it was Khonshu. That's why I thought it was annoying. God, there were so many, and like Bronze and I were saying, I want to do sometime just kind of do a thing where I'm like, come by and explain your costume because like I don't know. That was Kiki, right?
Yeah, from Kiki's delivery service, which is one of my daughter's favorites. So that was fun. I think you were in the restroom, and I was like, "Hey, my daughter's gonna love knowing that I saw some cosplay of one of her favorite movies. Can I get a picture?" She was nice enough to say yes. That was really awesome.
Right.
Yeah, there were some really good ones. There was a really well done, and I admit it was a pretty sexy cosplay. It was a Mara Jade slave Leia cosplay, and she was with about 5 other Leia, Hutt Slayer Leia, whatever you want to call it these days, cosplays. That was pretty cool, but it was just a very well done combo cosplay.
They were walking around as though they were filming something, right? Because they had the boom mic and everything with them.
They wanted to look like they were, like you pointed out, probably not a real mic because there was no camera,
right.
At least that I could see. But yeah, that was really good. I really like that Samus armor I saw. There was I really wish I'd been able to break free and go get a picture. There was a Bo-Katan with like 2 or 3 other Mandalorians, but the Bo-Katan was just like, she nailed it. And then, but my favorite, it's a good question. Those are all really good. I saw lots and lots of like just the average level of cosplay was just really good. There was a good Spider-Man and Black Hat pairing. We saw a James McAvoy Professor Xavier one that was really good.
Yeah, a guy that was actually handicapped in a wheelchair playing and he looked very much like the James McAvoy Professor Xavier.
Oh, yeah, unfortunately, if you text it, I can't really show it very easily, but
Instagram, but not text.
Yeah, it'd be easier. I can try. But yeah, there's I do have to take another ad break here in a second because we're almost out of time for that. But
I got 2 more books to show.
Okay. Well, let's do the ad break and then we'll come back and we'll show the last books and do our community artwork roundup too that we have saved up and ready to go. So we'll be back in 2 minutes. Just remember, as you're watching us here, maybe you're watching on my channel on Bronze Age Nerd. Maybe you're watching over on Bigby McFly's channel. Maybe you're watching over on the EXP. If you're not watching on one of those places, if you're not watching on all 3 of those places, go and check out the other one. Subscribe over there. You're about to see some excellent commercials and sponsors from the EXP. So look forward to checking out some of those shows, and we'll see you back here in a couple minutes.
Some comic live streams seem like they're just throwing everything at the wall. Hey, you want this unknown comic? Yeah, here, how about this boring one? Found this one in a rain gutter. Give me some money for it. I know this looks like a rotting sandwich, but I swear it's a comic. Pay me! But with Comic Collectibles, we know you don't just want comics, you want the right comics. You want rare variant and incentive covers, vintage books in pristine condition at prices you won't find anywhere else, and truly unique hand-drawn cover sketches by some of the most amazing artists in the business. Join Rex and his rotating cast of co-hosts live from Dynamite Entertainment headquarters for a carefully curated roster of comics that you'll only find here at Comic Collectibles. Every Monday at 6 and Wednesday at 7 Eastern Time. Part of the experience.
Did you know that Arthur, King of the Britons, and Monty Python and the Holy Grail was played by a famous Graham? Check out another famous Graham by following our Instagram. Download our app on Google Play and the App Store. It's so simple, even my mommy can use it.
Hey, welcome back to Best Coast Comics. I'm Christopher, aka the Bronze Age Nerd, and that is
Christopher, aka the Bronze Age Nerd. No, wait.
oh weird.
Take
That
me to
cloning
fly.
machine
Oh,
acting up again. As Chris says, hit the like button. We were just talking about Rose City Comic Con and some of the cosplay we saw. Comics Limited sent a couple photos over that I was able to pull up during our ad break, which came in clutch in this case. So I'll just share that real fast before we move on to some new business. Yeah, this is that Spider-Man and Gwen cosplay he was talking about,
That's
which
awesome.
is great. And then I really liked this one too. This Chell cosplay from Portal.
That's great.
Very cool. And then I don't know about this. This one, this guy seems a little shifty. I don't know. Something about him. I think he's about to go blow up a government project or something. No, that's Comics Limited in the cockpit of the X-Wing there. So that is fun too. Cool. Thanks for sharing those. There was so much great cosplay. It was actually, I know there's always a lot on Saturday at that show, but I still think it was again, the average level of cosplay seemed higher effort and more people were more happy about it. Although there were a lot of people that were sweating their behinds off, I will say
So many lovely ladies in giant gowns and everything, and I'm like, oh my gosh, she must be dying. But they looked amazing. So
yeah.
Suffering.
Oh, there was a really good Fennec Shand I saw too from Star Wars that was like just spot on, like nailed the armor and everything. So it was really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so you said you had a couple more books you wanted to show up before we go to the community art?
So we got back to Travis's place, and I got another couple books from Travis. So I got a Marvel Spotlight 32.
Oh yeah.
For Spider-Woman, which is also on my list of books for the year. And
great book.
A hot book right now, but I've been wanting to pick it up. So Iron Man 150 with Iron Man and Doom.
I wish I'd known you were looking for a copy of that. I've got a couple of them. So that
no, I'm not opposed to getting more. I'm not a hoarder. And then so
it's smart to probably sell one of them because it's like you said, it's a hot book. But
not right now. So Sunday we went around running around. Travis, Mike, and I went out to breakfast, and then Mike and I went over and visited Stepo, Collecto 6, and then we did some running around to Excalibur, and then we just had a little bit of time, so we went over to Tasty Cat, which I haven't been there for quite a while. And they've changed their mix of books. It used to be just like a lot of Golden Age high-end stuff and not a lot of other stuff. But they had some great, like, I pulled out, they had a $2 bin. I pulled out for Mike. I was pulling up books. I'm like, hey, you should grab this. You should grab All-Star Superman #1 for $2. Nothing wrong with it. Like a bunch of great books. And then I picked up All-Star Batman and Robin #1, Jim Lee. And out of this $2 bin, and Strangers in Paradise #1, the second series #1. But both books that book, well over $10 a piece for $2.
and luckily you don't even have to wait too long to read the second issue of All Star Batman and Robin.
No, I was reading it back then when it was coming out.
Yeah, no, I was too. I remember the waits were brutal.
There's Dan.
Hey Dan, your ears must have been burning. We were just talking about you a little while ago.
We were talking about you. Oh, and then I wanted to shout out. I met these guys, super cool guys.
Yes,
Cosmic Lion Productions, and they actually said they want to do something for us for Heroes for Heroes. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, but they were really cool guys. They got their kind of an anthology line of books where they let the creators do a lot of design. One guy has one of his books is like a love story to Savage Sword of Conan, so it's all done in the oversized magazine format in black and white, and really cool. So
hey Hector, absolutely. That's actually, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna show off some community artwork. We've been talking about a lot of community stuff here in a minute. We're gonna show off the community artwork we have for this week, and then we're gonna finish out the show for the time we have left talking about James Earl Jones and John Cassaday for a few minutes. Kind of not a traditional news segment, kind of just a shocking and sad news segment, but we are going to discuss that here in a minute. Did you have anything else you wanted to show before I show the community art, Bigby?
No, I mean, yeah, no, I think I'm good. I think we've touched on almost all the amazing things that we got to experience. It was just super fun, and I can't, encourage you guys to know. For a long time there, I was poo-pooing conventions because I was just like nothing but overpriced books and a lot of things that I don't want to deal with. But I had forgotten the whole community aspect of it and being able to hang out with friends. And I don't even care about now going to a show and getting books. It's just about who am I going to hang out with and enjoy the time. Like I said, you and I driving around for an hour trying to find a parking space. I think that was great. Just talking and having a good time. And
yeah, it ended up being a memory. Like at the time I was kind of like, come on, but it ended up being like something I'll remember for a while.
Right. You and your obsession with the Peabot, Brian.
Portland
there was
Bureau
a Peabot guy, and I was like, we need to ask him a question, and he's like.
At one point, Brian's like, I'm gonna hop out and go ask this. I'm like, well, they're like a block back that way, and I have a green light. Like, I'm gonna have to circle around and pick you up. And by then, what if I find a spot? And I don't know. Yeah, it was fun and probably not as big a deal as we needed it as we ended up making it. We should have just gave up and drove farther away and hiked in. But
we would have gotten there probably half an hour quicker. But we had a good time. Like I said, it's a memory. I think we almost parked in the same spot we parked for Frankenstein. So.
Yeah, only that was actually at the place we parked.
Right. Yeah.
By the way, we're talking about Frankenstein Comic Swap. You've heard us mention it a couple times. I just found out earlier that Dan's not going to be there, which really bummed me out. But it's going to be October 19th. A lot of local Portland people and from the surrounding area go to it. If you want to hunt comics and if you want to have the opposite of what Rose City Comic Con was for comic books. And just go look at comic books and maybe a few action figures and pulp kind of, items, that kind of stuff.
Cool artists there.
Of course.
The guy who did the big Kingpin piece.
Was there. Absolutely. But I mean, 98% of it's comic book vendors.
And great prices. And most of it's like people who are vending, like they're collectors who are selling pieces of their collections off. So it's like pricing is really good.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, we still love our fudge. I don't really think of Portland as being a fudge town. That's the funniest part about it. There we go.
Did you hear where Dan's going to be instead of being there?
Yes. Yes.
I mean, I'm going to
go there. No, I don't blame him. I was bummed because I was hoping to run into him again. But that's, I'll see him at the next one or before that, I'm sure, which is awesome. All right, so now we're going to talk about some community artwork. One of these days I'll get around to making a bumper for that. I flipped to the end of this one. I'll go backwards a little bit because it's kind of topical because I thought of another great cosplay I saw, which was from Bob's Burgers. I saw a great Linda and Bob cosplay there. But this is artwork from Roscoe, Geek Out with Roscoe, who unfortunately had to cancel his show tonight. But Roscoe continues to be a featured artist here. He sent in a bunch of stuff, which we don't mind. Send in your stuff. We'd love to see your stuff over and over and over again on the show.
We'll hang on to it and show a couple pieces every week.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too is at the end of the year we will be doing a kind of a competition where we figure out a way to kind of give back to some of these artists that have been sharing their stuff, and we'll be sharing this on Instagram as we kind of count down to the finalists of that competition too. So you'll get your artwork shared out there by us if that matters to you. That's awesome. We just love to see it. So fantastic work, Roscoe.
An exciting thing that's been happening as an aside to this is we're starting to get some people who are pros who are wanting to encourage people coming up. And so they're sending us stuff like, hey, show some of my stuff and encourage people to make art. So they don't want to be part of the competition or anything, but they just want to encourage people and say, hey, make art. Like I started out, I was rough, but you get better. Just make art, just do it. So
yeah, and that's really fun to see. Like a couple of those Bigby was sending me, and I'm like, like, this is cool and all, but why are we just showing pros art? Oh no, they actually watched the show and wanted to share it with us. I mean, that's awesome, right? Like,
Right. Yeah.
So we have it. This is I'm surprised. I'm surprised he doesn't know we are live. Recent guest on Comic Tropes on Comic Journey's channel. Comic Tropes is here. This is from Comic Journey's Look at Me stuff he did. So this is it's a little bit older piece of his. I remember seeing this a while ago, but it's kind of a reimagining of Comic Journey's logo, which is great work.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Roscoe's so great. Hey, that's timely.
Roscoe, I've got a bone to pick with you about this one. Really? No. I'm not wearing a Broncos shirt. I thought I was for a second, but yeah, my Broncos didn't do so well this weekend. But hey, you know what? The whole Kermit, Pat Mahomes thing is real, and you did an amazing job capturing that. It's too bad he plays for that team. No,
Yeah.
just kidding. Which I know my co-host used to be a Chiefs fan, was what I found out. So
Yes. Well, it was back in the day. Like I told you,
Yeah.
it was when Montana went there, and then you had like a lot of Marcus Allen, a lot of the great players from that era were going and kind of playing their last few years with the Chiefs. So
Yeah.
I kind of thought that was neat. So
and I'm completely beyond all that. This is amazing art. Like I completely recognize that this is a well done.
it's amazing. It's really
I'm just giving him crap. So this is Ben Taz. Ben Taz has been featured a few times before. Eclectic range of art that Ben does. We've kind of mentioned that before too as well. Definitely go give Ben a follow on the IGs. And
from Watch Money Comics.
Yeah, there you go.
He's actually giving art lessons to Mike's daughter. Mike's daughter's we taught, but she's learning to draw.
That's cool. That's so cool.
Yeah.
This was fantastic.
He's not showing that to Mike's daughter, but but he's petting the cat at least. The cat looks happy.
Oh, the cat's loving it. This reminds me a little bit of that scene from X2 where Wolverine extends his claws at, I think it's Bobby's house, and the cat like licks the end of his claw or something like that. It's great. Although, seems like that would really be a bad idea, but hey, whatever. For the cat.
Looks like he's happy just to get some attention.
Yeah. And then this is our last piece from Ben this week. Oh man. So yeah, when I say eclectic, you got the whole range of the gamut there.
Right.
But that's just awesome. I'm only moving a little quickly, not to disrespect the art, because I do want to have a few minutes at the end of the show to talk about that unfortunate news we had earlier today. So
right.
Here's our last piece. I wish he was still in here, but he probably had to bail, which is totally understandable. Actual Dracula did this amazing thing, sketch cover. That is just phenomenal. Huge. Actual Dracula is a amazing artist too that definitely deserves props. Go follow him and check out his YouTube channel as well.
The texture,
really great job.
The different color gradients and stuff. It's really cool.
Yeah. That's what impresses me the most about this is like, I know it'll get a little blurry if I zoom in, but just like like Bigby saying his gradient on the rock.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Super cool. Yeah.
Good job, everybody, on the community artwork this week. We'll have more next week, for sure. But like I said, I do want to make sure we are winding down to the end of the show here. We're not really going to talk about any of the other bigger general comic book news that happened. There's a few things that are kind of interesting. Luckily, we can talk about those next week, as long as more pressing news doesn't hit us. But we did have those passings we talked about at the beginning of the show with James Earl Jones, who passed away earlier in the day, and then we found out John Cassaday also passed away. So with James Earl Jones, I think since we'll just kind of go chronologically here. It is sad. Absolutely. It's heartbreaking if you're a fan of any of the amazing works he's done. He's had some health problems over the years. As you can imagine, he lived to be 93. So of course you're probably going to have some health problems when you live that long. I know that I hate to say it this way, but it's one of those actors where, you have that thought. You're like, he did some stuff recently where he did some voice recording for Lucasfilm. for some, kind of if they need to recreate voices for Darth Vader at any point. With his blessing, he did that. So, oh, I did not know that. Okay, so Comic Trip says if you're going to talk about these folks, let's include Bernie Meyeralt, another comics artist that passed this week, Grendel, Madman, The Jam. That I did not know that. Oh, I didn't even hear about that one. That is so terribly sad. This has been a really bad week.
It's a rough week.
Man, that's awful. Yeah, so we'll definitely mention that as well. I think this kind of the cultural impact of this one is immediate to just about everybody.
Yeah.
So it is just terrible news. Yeah. Field of Dreams. I mean, just so many great projects that he was part of over the years. Pretty much, probably not an American that's watched a movie that doesn't have some kind of connection to James Earl Jones or 2 or 10. So he will be missed, of course. His legacy, pioneer, African American actor. So for so many reasons, and I really just hope that we take this. I've said it so many times. If you have a chance to meet these people, if they're going to be at cons, and you're really on the fence about it, do it. Definitely do it. If you get your chance to kind of bask in that.
Right.
So, yeah. Interesting. I didn't know that. I think what that would be. The other one that hit intensely hard. Not that didn't, of course. But this was just.
We were just talking about his artwork.
Yeah. Well, and now it kind of paints it in a different light too, because I don't know the full details of this. This is really fresh. Like when I was getting ready for the show, I was telling some people about this. I was like, oh my God, did you hear? And the news, because I was seeing it from some people that happened to know him in real life, posting about it. And there wasn't at the time a news story out about it. And then it finally got posted. And I don't know that there's details out about it. But it was shocking because he's pretty young. He was 52. John Cassaday has passed away as well. And, just somebody as an X-Men fan, his work on Astonishing X-Men was iconic, legendary. That was a very well-regarded run for a lot of reasons. Kind of breathed some new life into the X-Men, both through the story but also visually. I mean, you had Wolverine's redesigned costume that was kind of the way to bring us back from the black leather jackets era of X-Men to a certain extent. Right. In a very well done, respectful way. And then, so I'll just mention this real fast because that cover he did recently was something that we talked about. And now I feel bad because I can't help but wonder if there wasn't something going on with John Cassaday at the time, because I will say that when I said that on that stream, we talked about that. Somebody actually said something of, I hear there's been some health issues. And I didn't want to reach out to too many people to try to corroborate that. I just kind of took it in. It was like, okay. And I didn't really talk about that much anymore. I didn't know anything was going on. I don't know if that person knew something at the time or if they just heard a rumor or something that somebody had said. But that might explain why there's an X-Men cover that came out recently with Beast on it that was and Wolverine that was maybe not representative of John's amazing work is right. How I'll say that. And knowing that was, you have to wonder if he's been sick. Exactly. I feel terrible.
Like you said, astonishing. Like after the Brian Claremont stuff, that's the next stuff that I recommend to people. I say is like indicative of really, really good X-Men.
Yeah.
So
it's an easy story to recommend too, because it doesn't require as much of the kind of baggage that X-Men stuff kind of sometimes comes with.
Right.
I mean, a lot of that is baked into it. That's unavoidable with so many comics.
But it's also like a love letter to people who have been reading X-Men.
Yeah.
Or, because it brings back Kitty and Colossus together. It brings back a lot of the nostalgia for the 80s time period of X-Men as well. So, and the artwork is phenomenal and the writing is phenomenal. That's just how with Whedon and Cassidy, right?
Yeah, it was Joss Whedon and Cassidy, and it was just something where it was especially just speaking to the visual side of it, for the side, like I said, taking us kind of back to a more comic book history in that same way. Look like Cyclops in kind of the full blue bodysuit with the skull cap and all that kind of stuff again. A lot of the other characters had a fairly classic look as well.
Right.
Modernizing Emma's costume. All that kind of stuff. So, this is heartbreaking. I was so hurt when Ed passed. I really feel for anyone who loved these people so much. I didn't know we could hurt this bad when we lose someone. Yeah, it's rough. It's really rough.
Even when you don't, I didn't know him personally or anything, but it's super sad that he's not here with us.
I've read, when I was talking about what I heard from earlier, several people that knew him personally, and to a person, they all said he was just such a nice person. And I mean, 52. That's not in today's day. That's not.
That's younger than me.
Most people to pass.
Younger than me.
So, yeah, it's rough. And then. Thank you for sharing this. I'm sorry I wasn't aware of that. For some reason, that just never got through to me. But yeah, boy, Grendel, Madman, the Jam. Those are talk about some '80s icons of indie comics right there. Icons. I don't know why I put the emphasis on that way. But yeah, that's terrible. I have to go check out what happened there after the show.
Maybe we could touch a little more in depth on that.
Yeah.
On the next show.
Yeah, I got a message about that, I think, but I don't want to say it just in case it happens to not be correct.
Right.
But it's one of those things where what I'll say is one of the things we talk about on the show is mental health, and we talk about it with Heroes for Heroes and Mission 22, but we actually talk about it in general. And the reason why, I'll say it this way, I deal with mental health problems. I'm kind of in a good place for like depression, mental health, but I have seriously dealt with that in the past. But I'm in a better place for that. I deal with a lot of other problems now, like anxiety and some other stuff that relate to things like why you don't see as much content from me, or why it's harder for me to get out sometimes and do some of these things like cons. Why it can be an overwhelming experience at times for me. And I know there's a lot of people like that. There's a lot of people that can't go to shows, that have to leave early from shows, that have a hard time being around crowds of people, have a hard time making content, have a hard time making art, have a hard time writing stories. I will not name this person, but we talked to somebody at the show who was talking about having a hard time writing because of depression. And that's...
I don't have a problem sharing with it. You and I kind of became really good friends talking about mental health and stuff.
Yeah.
And like Chris and I both struggle with a lot of the same issues, and so being that way, I felt very much a kinship in wanting to help Chris to facilitate in whatever, like Heroes for Heroes or go into cons, being encouraging for him, like just being someone that he can sound off with, and the same thing for me. I could talk to Chris at any time, and we help each other out. So so it's important to have those kind of friendships out there, or to forge those things. And if you don't, reach out to somebody. There's always people who care, who want to listen to you and talk to you.
Yeah, and I've always put myself out there as if you're somebody who's watching this or hearing these words right now in some way or form, you are more than welcome to reach out to me. I may not be able to solve your problem. I may not be able to help you through the dark things you're dealing with, but I promise I will listen. And I will do what I can with the time and ability that I have to, because I care about you as a human being. In this hobby, there are too many people that deal with depression, that deal with anxiety, that deal with severe mental health problems, or even just moderate, mental health problems. And it's why a lot of us are into comic books. Frankly, it's an escape. yeah, it's a imaginative world. Same reason a lot of people are into, you know, a lot of adjacent hobbies too, of course. But it's one of those things that I take seriously, because there are people that I'm definitely not going to talk about them by name right now, but there's people within our community that I've interacted with, you know, that I've known that have taken their own life, and it's not just about that. I mean, it can just be hard to live your daily life, but I hope that any of you out there that feel like that's a real problem for you would be willing to reach out if you need to, or reach out to somebody you feel comfortable talking to. That's always a good step to do before you do something that can't be undone, is what I'll say.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Please. Yes. And I, you know, that's kind of specifically going down one path of this, talking about one of these individuals, but just on the gamut of we're only here for one ride. And I really hope everybody takes the most utmost consideration of what that is. And this is something that really hit me hard. It's really, really, really hard for me to do as somebody who's very overly analytical about my past. One of my goals is to try to live with no regrets. It's almost impossible for me, I think, but I really try to live with no regrets. And that's just something that I think is good advice for everybody, because this life is short. So
leave the world a better place, right?
yeah. Well, leave the world a better place, and not to get too deep into the weeds, but something I also tell people too is, it's kind of like the cliche, but affix your own oxygen mask to your face before trying to help other passengers too. Right. Take care of yourself. You matter, and the happier and better you are, the more you don't have regrets, the more you've gone through this life and done new things or tried new things and not tried to repeat the same cycles that have had you wherever you might be right now, the more likely you are to change somebody else's life. And that's a really good thing to do too, because you get to see it from the other side. So
true. Chris. Wish I could take it back.
No regrets.
No, but I mean, we're on that thing. I appreciate you, man. I just want to tell you, I appreciate everything that how we're able to talk to each other and everything. And I hope you guys all have that kind of person in your life, or somebody who, you know, supports you and is there for you and asks you how you're doing, you know, multiple times a week.
And actually, so yeah, just what Psychotron was saying there, just along with what Bigby just said, like that's actually what I planned on finishing up the show with, is kind of echoing a little bit what he just said. Is, you know, I had a great time this weekend. Monday had a lot of screeching halt kind of things that happened, as it turned out, but this weekend, even through some of the anxiety stuff I dealt with, even through some of the imposter syndrome or other things that were happening in my head, I still had a great time, because I had somebody there that was able to kind of check some of the things I was really able just to kind of vent, is really what it kind of came down to. And he was a great listener, so I appreciate that. But also there were, you know, new faces and new people seeing their goals and their projects and what they were trying to work on. I didn't even mention, not that it's necessarily super related, but JB, Discovery Bay Comics, was there. He works with Cover Price and Lords of the Long Box.
Right.
Yeah, I forgot to mention him. I actually forgot to show his picture. But yeah, I got a chance to meet him. We've talked before. And he had an awesome sketchbook he was getting done.
I got a video of that. Yeah.
And you'll be able to see it. It's so freaking cool.
Really cool.
And that's like inspirational, seeing what his goal and his project were. And I was like, oh man, like, you know, maybe I'll be able to help him with that someday, or try to make something happen for him with that.
It was really inspirational just to see how the networking of like friends of friends and introducing those friends to each other, and they become friends, and then it's just like, it was super uplifting to see everyone just kind of like, I mean, you met Mike and you didn't miss a beat. He was like best friend. He'd been best friends with you for a year or two.
Yeah, and
like, hey, cool.
And I'll be like, to be completely honest, like I knew the name for sure, but I was not familiar with his content before I met him. I mean, shouldn't say not familiar. I was not like a regular watcher of his content, right? And that's true of me. I'm not like somebody who watches a lot of YouTube comic book channels in general. There's a few I watch over and over again. But now, like because I kind of have gotten more and more into that kind of thing he does, where it's about the hunt kind of and finding great deals, and it's like this guy over there, this guy watching him do it in real time is crazy cool too. You should make some content like that too someday, I think. But
I was going through that $2 bin, and like I think Mike has it on his video, but I'm like, you need this, you need this, you need this, you need this. And he's like, oh yep, I'll take that. There was some like John Bolton. It's one of the books that Dave Stevens did the covers for, but it was Cheval Noir. There was some Cheval Noir in that $2 bin, and I'm like, that shouldn't be in the $2 bin.
Now you're really making me wish I'd went there, because I've been working on that series.
Oh, they still have some. Go hit them up.
Okay, I will. But yeah, no, it's one of those things that's just awesome, and that's a good point. I wanted to make sure we did kind of end on a high note after talking about some heavy stuff, but hey, it's okay to talk about heavy stuff too. You're 100% right, though, Cyclotron. It's good to give
heavy things happen, and you got to be able to discuss them in the right way, and be respectful of that, and be able to work through that with each other. And so that's kind of we try to do everything in a positive light, as positive as we can, and make the best of things. Yeah.
Well said. On that note, we're a little over on our time that we try to stick to, about the 2-hour mark. I know that pleased Sleepy Reader to no end, which is great. I'm glad you made it back to the show, and I'm so happy to have got to spend a little time with you. Hopefully we can all hang out more at maybe the next Frankenstein or whatever. But it was fantastic. Great show. So many wonderful memories. If you're watching on the rewind, please make sure to go hit up those other channels and subscribe to them. The EXP is a great channel to go subscribe to. Bigby McFly, the comic book guy, is a great channel to go subscribe to. You can head over to mine if you want to. And the reason I say that is because we're going to be doing Heroes for Heroes auction in November. And that one's going to, just to make the chat all cohesive, that one's only going to take place on my channel, so we don't have bids on 3 different channels going through. So definitely make sure that you're ready to check out that show to win some of that awesome stuff we talked about earlier in the show, and some of the great stuff that you're going to be seeing coming in the next few weeks. It's going to knock your socks off. So
for sure.
Right on. With that said, we are here holding it down on the Best Coast. We're hoping that you're enjoying comic books wherever you're watching this from. And remember, always take care of yourself. Reach out if you ever need anything. And we'll catch you in the next one, everybody. Have a fantastic week. Thanks so much for watching.
Share your love. Take care of one another.
Later, everybody.
Join the party. Head over to our link tree to find all the links for everywhere the experience is all the time.